Hi, we're the Swensons, the family behind Let's Adventure Some More.
And this year we decided to ditch our San Francisco Bay Area lifestyle for a trip around the world.
This is week 14, and we're exploring Sydney and the Gold Coast.
We started this week exploring Sydney. We were able to land there after our housesit in Melbourne. And we spent quite a few days in Sydney exploring the area. We got to see the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House, which are two things that I totally have wanted to see forever. So it was amazing to be able to see those things. We also took a ferry over to Manly Island, which has quite a story behind it.
That ferry and our understanding of how the cards work didn't quite get along so well. So long story short, Jessica and the boys ended up on the first ferry, and a little while later, Vesper and I got on the next ferry. So it all turned out okay, but we were separated for a while, and we only had one fully functioning SIM card, so I couldn't communicate right away until I was back on Wi-Fi.
It did work out to be somewhat lost or separated in an English-speaking country, and we already had plans in place, so it worked out okay, and Wi-Fi was our huge saving grace on that one. So we were able to just take separate ferries but get to the same location and spend some time on Manly Island exploring and playing at the beach.
Do you ever have one of those plans where you just want to do something, you really want to make it happen, you think all your ducks are in a row, and then it doesn't work out? That's our epic tale of the kayaking that never was. So we just took public transport 35-40 minutes to get there, and by the time we got there, the wind was so bad that they wouldn't sell a family tickets because the gusting winds would just blow you into where all the boats were.
We've had some interesting experiences with weather while here. It is their summertime, but when we were in Melbourne it rained, and then in Sydney during our time it rained, and then when we left those two places they had this massive heat wave.
So we just missed it.
It's been up and down for sure as far as the weather.
We saw a lighthouse that looked like it would be interesting to go visit.
Yeah, getting to the lighthouse was quite the experience because of the downpour rain. The first place that we went to wasn't the correct entrance. And then it stopped raining, which was wonderful. And we had gorgeous views of the harbor, and then also a nude beach that was there while people were being, spending their holidays on the nude beach. That was right in front of the boardwalk as we walked to the lighthouse.
Hey kids, look over here at the very boring military installation. Don't look over there where there's more interesting things.
So one of the excursions that I really wanted to do but wasn't sure if we'd have enough time given what choices we made and what we wanted to do while in Sydney was visiting Bondi Beach. It's a really iconic location in Sydney. They have the Iceberg Club pool where it's a public pool, you can go and pay and swim in the pool right next to the ocean or within the ocean. So it's beautiful. It's a saltwater pool. It's the same color as the ocean, but just a really cool experience because you look over and you're kind of cliffed into the water, which is really neat.
The edge of the pool is built right up onto the sand, and so at high tide the waves will come in and sometimes splash over, or you get a really big spectacular splash, and it's you see it pictured a lot in relation to Sydney and articles on Sydney. It's just beautiful.
So we were there during low tide, which is great because we're going to be swimming with 3 kids. So it worked out really well. Vesper ended up falling asleep, so she and I ended up not going into the water, but the boys had a great time swimming and looking over the edge into the ocean and seeing crabs. And for me, it was really more important just experiencing it and seeing it because it was so iconic. So I was okay not swimming in it, and I heard it was a little cold. cold.
It was chilly, but the intertidal zone on the far side was amazing.
As we left Sydney, we picked up our rental car because we definitely used public transportation in the city and did not want to worry about the traffic or just the one-way streets.
Or the overnight parking.
Overnight parking, so expensive. So we opted just to use public transportation, which was great, very similar to how New York runs. It's better just to use public transportation than drive. So we picked up our rental car outside the city and just left and went north. We had to make our way up to Brisbane area again in Queensland for our last house sit and our last week in Australia. But before that, we had a little bit of a window, and I had booked us a couple of nights in Gold Coast, Surfers Paradise, beautiful area near the beach, walking distance. We literally just walked across the street to get to the beach, and so we had a couple of days doing that before getting to Brisbane.
Yeah, Gold Coast reminds me a lot of Huntington Beach down in Southern California. I grew up just 10 miles inland from the beach, and it was a very nice walkable area.
And the boys really got into boogie boarding. There was a couple of ones you could rent from our hotel, so they literally spent 3 hours boogie boarding.
Yeah, they let me take them out a little bit deeper, showed them how to get started in the water. A little too small to be paddling forward, so I would just launch them off at the wave. And then they found that they could just do the real short ones as they're coming in. They had a fabulous time.
So now we're all about boogie boarding.
Yeah, I don't think just going to the beach now will be enough for them.
No.